Hey guys, and welcome to another video with me, Dan. And today we have the unique opportunity to look at the difference between a BulletRotor or STS combine versus conventional combines. There's two different kinds that we have here that we can look at, and the one is a CTS2 and the other is a 9600. Okay, looking at the feeder hose of the STS combine, we're looking at, and this is a 9860, about 51, 52 inches if we stretch it on width on this conveyor chain. Looking at the feeder hose of this CTS2 combine, it's about the same as the STS. The total width is about 51 to 52 inches. The actual feeding width is 46. Alright, here we got the feeder hose of the 9600 combine with a total width of 65 inches, and the conveyor chain is about 64 inches. Now if we stretch it, the cylinder on the 9600 combine is 66 inches wide, but effectively it only threshes at 65. Still tucked away under the cover back there, we got the cylinder on the CTS2, and it's no more than 54 inches total width and effectively 52 inches worth of threshing. Alright, looking at the BulletRotor on this STS combine, we would actually notice that our threshing to conveying width is unproportional. That means we have up to 52 inches conveying width, but we only have 42 inches worth of initial threshing width. However, because of the design of the rotor, it kind of makes up with the tines towards the back. Okay, if we compare the angle to which the rotor faces the product, on the conventional combine we have product coming in the feeder house and the cylinder is facing it with the whole width of that cylinder. However, on the STS BulletRotor, that cylinder is turned 90 degrees, so the face, the pointy end of the rotor, is facing into the product stream. And so along the whole length of the rotor we got the product flow. So again, the difference with the rotor laying with the product flow is that as the product enters through the front, the spiral motion through the rotation of the rotor will force the product along the concaves and towards the grates. So we got threshing happening on 3 concaves in the front and somewhat threshing happening on these grates as well. So you could say, looking at a 10-foot BulletRotor, you have 10 feet worth of threshing, but that's not effective threshing. It indeed is only 42 inches against the concaves, and then the rest is hopes and fingers crossed on the grates. That indeed does work, separating some more heads and lowering the return and overthrow, but yeah, 42 inches is all you got in effective threshing. Now if we looked at the straw chopper on the CTS2 combine or CTS combine and an STS combine, they're about the same. They're about 50 inches. Whereas on the 9600, we're talking about 58 inches of total straw chopper rotor width. Now when we look at this CTS2 combine first, what we'll see is it has a module inside with the twin rotor setup. And what this does with a spiral motion, it forces the product out of the back, and before it does that, we also get some more separation right on these grates. The STS combine, on the other hand, and we mentioned this, has those tines on the rotor. They help move the product out of the back, and basically against these grates does the same thing as those twin rotors on the CTS2. It gives us some more separation. And then we have the discharge beater that takes the product that comes from the rotor and in a spinning motion accelerates it and throws it out the back or into the straw chopper. We're now looking at the straw walkers of the 9600 combine, and we got 5 of those, and they're basically moving in a motion like you would when you rub your hands together, palms flat in a circular motion. And somebody tried to get out. And basically that is why these combines are very gentle on the product, because there is very little rotation in any of the components, and therefore this is an ideal combine if you want to bale up behind it. When we compare shoe augers between the combines, the STS has only 4. When we look at a CTS2 combine, it has 6 shoe augers. When we look at the big boy 9600, we'll see 7 shoe augers in here. And so, to summarize up, when we look at an STS combine, a CTS combine, and a 9600, then the biggest differences are: when we look at the threshing width, the STS combine with 42 inches is definitely the smallest, the narrowest width. The CTS would be the next one up with 50 to 52 at the most, and our 9600 with 64 inches has definitely the biggest threshing capacity. When we look at the straw chopper, the complete discharge, then STS and CTS combine are basically about the same with 50 inches. However, the 9600 tops them both with 58 inches complete chopping width. When we look at the discharge system, the STS combine requires some help with the discharge beater. The CTS combine has probably the quickest discharge with a twin rotor system, and the straw walkers in the 9600 combine are the most gentle and slowest way to get the product out of the combine. Now obviously the product facing our threshing cylinders is much more effective on a CTS and 9600 combine, as it faces the product right from the feeder house without being overturned or accelerated or slowed down in any other way. On the STS combine, however, we got feeder house, feed accelerator, a tri-flow feed ramp, and then the threshing. When we look at the operator and maintenance, then an STS combine is definitely the most comfortable, as we can do a lot of adjustments from the cab, and it is very versatile that way. The CTS and 9600 combine, however, you usually don't have to do a whole lot of adjustments. You get a clean sample rather quick, probably due to the fact that the cylinders are facing the product immediately. As for the maintenance parts that break are easier to change on an STS combine. They're more accessible, and we have a lot more small parts that we can exchange, especially when we change product application. Then the STS is much more versatile. The 9600 and CTS combine, if you get into, let's say, concaves, you always have to remove the feeder house. On the STS combine, it is a matter of minutes. According to some operators I talked to that I went through with in the field, they have pointed out that a CTS, or a conventional combine for that matter, is better in high moisture. They're much more forgiving in wet straw, or moist straw, for example. So is there really a good choice? If you decide you want to bale behind the combine, it has to be a conventional combine. If you decide that chopping it up, being quick and versatile with low maintenance, you might as well go for the STS.